Most men chase, but the guy she truly wants, she chases him. And today, I'm giving you the one psychological shift that makes a woman pursue you, even if she's been distant, cold, or losing interest. Watch closely, because most men never hear this truth. Now let me ask you something simple. Have you ever noticed how some men, even average-looking men, never chase women? Yet women keep coming back to them, keep flirting with them, keep trying to get their attention. Meanwhile, the men who try the hardest, who give the most, who show the most interest, somehow end up ignored, rejected, or placed quietly into the dreaded "he's nice, but" category. It feels unfair, doesn't it? But there is an answer. And once you understand the psychology behind it, your entire experience with women changes forever. Let's begin with the simplest but most overlooked truth about attraction. Women don't chase men for what they do. They chase men for how they feel around them. And those feelings come from one thing: perceived value. Not the kind of value society talks about. Not money, muscles, cars, or status. I mean, inner value. The psychological presence of a man who does not need approval to feel confident, who does not crumble emotionally when a woman pulls away, and who does not rush to fill silence, gaps, or uncertainty. In every psychology book about human attraction, whether it's Esther Perel's work on desire, Robert Greene's insights on human behavior, or classic attachment theory, the core message is the same. People are drawn to those who create emotional tension without anxiety, distance without rejection, and confidence without arrogance. Women chase men who make them feel safe, yes, but also excited. Men who make them feel understood, yes, but also challenged. And above all, women chase the man who does not collapse into her, even if he likes her, even if he wants her, even if he dreams about her. Now, here's the part men over 60 understand on a deeper level than younger men. Life has taught you what real stability looks like. You've lived enough to know what matters. That should give you an incredible advantage in relationships. But the reason so many older men still struggle is because they were raised in a time when pursuing women was supposed to be direct, persistent, and obvious. Back then, effort was respected, but modern dating has changed completely. In today's world, effort is admired only after desire is already established. If you lead too soon, she feels no mystery. If you give too openly, she feels no discovery. If you chase, she relaxes. And when a woman relaxes too early, the chase ends. Not because she doesn't like you, but because biologically she is wired to respond strongest to the man she has to invest in. When she invests emotionally in you, when she wonders, when she thinks, when she imagines, she bonds. And when she bonds, she chases. So what is the one thing that makes 99% of women chase you automatically? It's not a tactic. It's not a pickup trick. It's not cold indifference or pretending you don't care. It's something deeper, something most men never learn. The one thing is this: become the man who can walk away, emotionally, not out of anger, not out of fear, but out of self-respect. Emotional walk-away power. The ability to stay centered even when she pulls back, even when she tests you, even when she becomes inconsistent or confusing. The ability to stay aligned with your value instead of reacting to her behavior. You don't punish her. You don't guilt her. You don't chase her. You simply don't abandon yourself just to keep her close. And despite what many men think, women are not looking for complete independence. They're looking for emotional steadiness. The kind of steadiness that says, I enjoy you, I'm attracted to you, I'm open to you, but I don't need you to validate me. This one shift changes everything, because when a woman feels a man has walk-away power, she feels something extremely rare: respect mixed with curiosity. Respect because she sees he is not ruled by fear. Curiosity because she cannot predict him. And in female psychology, unpredictability, used calmly, not manipulatively, is one of the strongest drivers of romantic pursuit. Let me give you a real example. A man named Richard, 62 years old, divorced after a long marriage, once told me he kept losing women right when he thought things were going well. He was generous, patient, well-mannered, and always made himself available. He thought he was doing everything right. But over and over they slowly faded away. One woman even told him, "You're too easy to read. That comment hurt him, but it also taught him something. Women don't chase men who are overeager. They chase men who give them enough emotional space to feel desire themselves. And modern women, especially after years of being chased online, DM'd, messaged and over-pursued, have become almost numb to effort. Effort alone means nothing now. Effort without mystery is like a movie where you already know the ending. There's no excitement in it. The good news? Richard learned the shift. He stopped over-explaining, stopped reassuring constantly, stopped instantly replying, and stopped making himself her emotional home before she earned that privilege. Not by playing games, not by being cold, but by being calm, grounded and centered, knowing that if she left, he would be okay. And what happened? She started investing. She started texting first. She started adjusting her schedule for him. She started chasing. Not because he changed his personality, but because he changed his emotional posture. Now, I want you to understand something crucial. Women don't chase men who ignore them. They chase men who value themselves. There's a difference. Ignoring women as a strategy backfires because it creates insecurity, not attraction. But living in a calm, steady frame of self-worth creates an energy women naturally lean toward. Psychology research shows that we are drawn toward people who appear internally stable, emotionally secure, and hard to shake. These individuals activate attachment activation, which is just a fancy way of saying we pursue what feels valuable. And a man who can emotionally walk away if needed is valuable. But what does emotional walkaway power actually look like in behavior? It looks like responding instead of reacting. It looks like giving your attention but not your identity. It looks like staying warm but not chasing approval. It looks like letting her come to you when she pulls back instead of rushing after her. It looks like keeping your own routines, passions, responsibilities, and emotional world alive, so you never depend on her attention for your peace of mind. Women don't chase men who make them their entire world. They chase men whose world they want to be part of. Think about it like this. If a man bases his peace on her behavior, he becomes emotionally fragile, and women instinctively test fragile men. Not out of cruelty, but out of biology. A woman's deeper wiring, especially when she's looking for a long-term partner, pushes her to check whether a man can handle emotional pressure. Can he stay centered if she's having a bad day? Can he remain stable if she's emotional? Can he remain strong if life gets stressful? Women test for this without even knowing they're testing. It's instinct. So when a man easily loses emotional balance, she pulls away. But the man who stays grounded, he becomes rare, and what is rare becomes desirable. This brings us to one of the biggest reasons women chase emotionally strong men. Women fear losing what they respect, but they do not fear losing what they pity. When you chase too early, too intensely, too emotionally, she feels pity, not desire. When you stand calm, confident, and centered, she feels potential loss. And loss is the most powerful motivator in human attraction. Every psychologist, from Daniel Kahneman to John Gottman, has written about loss aversion, the idea that humans fear losing something far more than they enjoy gaining it. A woman will chase a man she fears losing, not because he threatens to leave, but because she senses he is a man who could leave if the connection stops being meaningful. And this is the heart of the shift. Women chase men whose presence feels earned, not given away freely. Not because the man is playing hard to get, but because he is hard to get, emotionally. He is selective. He is composed. He does not rush to make things official. He does not beg for reassurance. He does not collapse when she becomes distant. Instead, he holds his value like a quiet, steady flame, and that flame is what draws her in. Now that you understand the foundation of the shift, emotional walkaway power, let's go deeper into how this operates inside the mind of a woman. A woman is instinctively drawn to the man who gives her space to desire him, not the man who overwhelms her with attention, not the man who tries too hard, not the man who rushes the process. Women need space to feel, and space only happens when a man stops trying to manage her interest and begins managing his own emotional energy. This is where most men accidentally sabotage themselves. They think the key to winning a woman's affection is to show her how much they care. But caring too early, too intensely, too emotionally sends the opposite message. It signals that you are investing more into her than she is into you. And when a woman senses this imbalance, she unconsciously steps back. But the man who doesn't collapse into emotional urgency, the man who allows her to feel attraction at her own pace, he becomes the one she chases. And here's the surprising part. Women don't chase because you're distant. They chase because your presence feels earned, not assumed. They chase because they sense you are a man with boundaries, a man with dignity, a man with emotional structure. Women chase the man who gives, but gives with balance. They chase the man who is affectionate, but not needy. They chase the man who is present, but not dependent. They chase the man who communicates interest without handing over his entire identity. Let me share a story from a client named Anthony. He was 59, a widower, kind-hearted, gentle, deeply loving. Exactly the type of man many women say they want. But he kept experiencing the same painful pattern. He would meet a woman. Things would start off beautifully. They'd laugh, connect, enjoy each other, and sparks would fly. Then suddenly, she would slow down. She would take longer to reply. She would seem distracted. She would become less enthusiastic. She would stop initiating. And Anthony always responded the same way. He tried harder. He sent longer messages. He checked in more frequently. He reassured her. He offered compliments. He became emotionally available to the point of losing himself. And every time he did, the woman drifted away completely. Eventually, one woman told him the truth. "You made me feel like you were waiting for me to choose you." That one sentence changed his life. Because what she really meant was, "I lost the element of pursuit." Women don't want to feel like the prize. They want to feel like they're choosing the prize. So Anthony rewired his approach. He stayed warm but not immediate, interested but not available 24/7. He listened deeply, but he didn't try to fix her emotions. He kept his own routine strong. He didn't stop his hobbies, his workouts, his social life just because she entered the picture. And the shift was dramatic. For the first time, the woman started asking to see him. She started initiating conversations. She started expressing appreciation. She started chasing, not because he played games, but because he finally stopped playing himself small. Women chase the man who feels internally steady, and internal steadiness comes from emotional discipline. So let's break down the core behaviors that create this powerful energy women respond to. The first behavior is non-reactivity. When she pulls away, you don't panic. When she takes longer to reply, you don't interrogate. When she seems unsure, you don't try to convince her. You stay present, grounded, and calm. Women feel this energy instantly. It makes them feel safe, but also intrigued. Because in a world full of men who overreact, the man who stays steady stands out. The second behavior is selective attention. This means you give her your time, but not your entire schedule. You respond thoughtfully, but not anxiously. You show affection, but not in a way that suggests she's the center of your universe. Selective attention is powerful because it signals that your life has purpose beyond the relationship. Women are drawn to men who belong to something bigger than them, whether it's a passion, a mission, a purpose, or a quiet inner world they can sense but can't fully access. When a man's life is rich, full, meaningful, and self-driven, a woman naturally wants to be part of it. The third behavior is emotional pacing. Emotional pacing means you allow the relationship to unfold at a natural rhythm instead of rushing deeper connection too soon. Most women lose interest because the man accelerates the emotional intensity before she's ready. He gives too much too early. He reveals too much too early. He commits too much too early. But the man who matches her pace, who doesn't rush her, who lets her interest build slowly, becomes irresistible. Because women fall for men emotionally over time, not through pressure, the fourth behavior is self-grounded confidence. Confidence that isn't loud. Confidence that isn't about bragging. Confidence that isn't about proving anything. It's the quiet confidence of a man who knows who he is. A man who has lived enough life to know what matters. A man who doesn't need validation to feel strong. This kind of confidence radiates in the way you speak, move, react, and even in the way you maintain eye contact. Women don't chase confidence that shouts. They chase confidence that whispers. Now let's talk about something deeper, something that ties all of this together: emotional leadership. Emotional leadership doesn't mean controlling her feelings, it means guiding the emotional tone of the connection. When she becomes anxious, you stay calm. When she is overwhelmed, you remain steady. When she is unsure, you stay grounded. When she becomes distant, you don't collapse. Emotional leadership makes women feel safe, attracted, and invested. Because unlike men, who often fall for beauty or companionship, women fall for the man who makes them feel emotionally balanced. And if you want 99% of women to chase you, there's one more powerful truth you must understand. Women chase men who make them feel like their feminine energy has space to breathe. Feminine energy thrives on inspiration, not pressure. It thrives on presence, not pursuit. It thrives on mystery, not certainty. When a man allows a woman to come toward him, she feels her feminine energy awakening. That's why chasing a woman never works. You cannot awaken her femininity through pursuit. You awaken it through presence, calm strength, emotional steadiness, and the ability to let her invest in you. This brings us to something all women feel but rarely admit. Women want to chase the man they desire. They want to feel the thrill of wondering what he's thinking. They want to feel that little spark of uncertainty that keeps the connection alive. They want to feel the excitement of earning his attention, not because the man is unavailable, but because he is not controlled by the outcome. When you stop chasing a woman's approval and start living in your own grounded masculine energy, she feels it, and it pulls her in like gravity. So what does this look like in real daily behavior? It looks like texting her when you genuinely want to, not because you're afraid she'll lose interest. It looks like suggesting plans without over-explaining or overselling them. It looks like giving compliments without trying to win her over. It looks like giving her space when she's distant while staying warm and open. It looks like being strong enough to sit in silence without panic. It looks like trusting her interest instead of desperately trying to maintain it. It looks like walking away calmly if she disrespects you, instead of arguing or trying to change her. These small behaviors create one big psychological effect. She feels your worth. And when a woman feels your worth, she steps toward you. She invests in you. She pursues you. Now here's the final truth that ties everything together. A woman can only chase a man she feels she could lose. Not because he threatens her, but because he values himself enough to leave if the connection isn't mutual. That is the ultimate psychological trigger. Not arrogance, not games, but quiet self-respect. Women can sense when a man respects himself, and that respect becomes the foundation of her desire. She chases the man who loves himself enough to choose carefully. She chases the man who is emotionally anchored. She chases the man who is selective. And she chases the man who embodies this simple energy: I want you, but I don't need you. When a woman feels that energy, she begins to invest emotionally. She begins to initiate. She begins to wonder about you. She begins to open up. She begins to chase, not because you manipulated her, but because she feels something she rarely feels in modern dating: a man who is both strong and safe, a man who is both present and independent, a man who is both emotionally available and emotionally grounded. That combination is rare. And what is rare is pursued. So remember this. You do not win a woman by chasing her. You win her by living in such a strong frame of inner value that she cannot resist moving toward you. The one thing that makes 99% of women chase you automatically is not a line, trick, or technique. It is the energy of a man who knows his worth, protects his peace, and remains emotionally centered no matter what she does. When you embody that, she will chase you, not because she has to, but because she wants to.